They have plenty of time.
They have the read that this position is going to be encroached upon. So, yeah, I mean, you can see, waiting for the retap. Kahlua has that stun prep, but it's not going to come through away.
Oh, the timing.
Peeks back into B. Still, though, getting ready to swing back through. Stays on the angle, wants it to push into him. Crazy guy will be left on the floor. Cushy trying to fake for it, trying to see if he can get Cruz to advance to come away with that kill to bring it to a 1v2, but Cruz does not bite. He has a gorgeous read on this round.
That is just beautiful stuff from Cruz. A+ on the homework coming into Lotus. Just had every twist and turn dissected.
Cruz will be the one to go ahead and bring it to an end. A 3K for the IGL and Teo, as Talon will tie things up in regards to the pistol count, 1-1, and now just one round away from tying things up as they get up to 6.
I mean, Cruz has been talking about in some of the press conference interviews or the post-match interviews that, you know, part of the reason that they decided to bring Killua and Ty in is because they wanted to win now. You know, they've literally used the word greedy. They said they're greedy, him and Frost, that they want to win this year. And rounds like this show you that Cruz is dialed in, that he is really putting in some hard work and really understanding his opponent's tendencies and understanding negative space. What can be going on in the map? Not a lot of teams are going to expect you to wrap all the way through defender spawn like that. Except for Cruz, except for Talon. They do.
Reads it like a book. Drone going to be cleared out, doesn't catch a glimpse of too much as Salvo is going to be sent off these positions, but the flood's not coming through. They know that sheer wall's going to be in play. Jitboy's going to be overwhelmed. This crazy guy does manage to find one, but he takes Jumkin down with him. At the same time, pressuring around the back is just dancing here, but the Guardian still manages to find the shot. TP over to the side, Cushy fast enough to find the punish, but just not enough time to try to go for the weapon recovery. Get themselves forward into the site. Just a Spectre, a Ghost in hand. Xfero with the classic on a lurk, tucked back over towards the spawn behind this B connector exit.
I want to see that kill from Jemkin's perspective. I can't say for sure, but part of me suspects he might have tried to fake the clone.
Oh. Headshot found. Fault line sent, but just going to be the aftershock, and Snakebite to just go ahead and hold everything at bay. Monyet going to be stunned up now, very much as risk. Gets the slide on the corner. Primi able to find one. Cushy needing these shots to be clean. The right click takes Cruz a little bit lower, but Talon able to find stability here yet in the round as they tie things up 7-7.
Could have just been a double peek with him and Monyet. Kind of curious, because he was just walking straight. Didn't really react to his opponent. But, we don't get to see it. Jitboy's got the kill. Whatever. Still, though, pretty smooth sailing for Talon. Able to keep some of the important guns, 3 of them. That's what you want to do, basically. That's mission accomplished. Try to find that bonus.
Overall, not too bad of an eco, though, from RRQ. You can see decently advantaged. Obviously, these Guardians can still do immense work for Talon, though.
Yeah. The Bulldog in Primi's hands.
Okay.
That's what I was just about to say. I was just thinking it.
Well, never mind.
Well, any gun in Primi's hand is pretty good.
But now you get into a rocky position. Fault line avoided. Relay bolt holding them back. Xfero just managed to find one. Crew's going to be taken out. Decent little punish. Brings it back into a 4v4, but that entry power is still out of the hands of RRQ. Scaling forward without the Yoru. A bit more difficult. They also just have one flash left on Crazy Guy. Jitboy's peeking out. Going to be taken down, though, and that's going to be a nice little window of opportunity, perhaps, to play around with his. Xfero honestly was about to drift in and likely die to Primi, but instead the door tap draws his attention elsewhere. So Primi does eventually find that kill, but not before Xfero picks up a third.
Wants the gun upgrade, but is scared there's someone around the corner. Little does he know.
They'll hear it. Now they absolutely know. And he just walks straight into a firing squad.
30 seconds left.
RQ, though, not looking to lose any more weapons, and they will not. A solid headshot there from Monyet. Stops the bonus conversion, gets RQ back into the driver's seat with relatively fine casualties.
I was a little bit worried here initially for RRQ Oh, right as Jemkin was trying to TP. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Cruz got caught jumping over the rock or trying to jump on the rock. One of the two. And then it's just really clean. Group up, find the open space. Catch Primi off guard. Don't give him any hope of turning around on its head.
Time to jump.
Get that spike down, get through. Primi has an op already, though. It's okay, it's fine. Never in doubt.
To the safety of the boulder. This drone cleared, knows that there's going to be some deeper presence still yet in that A spawn, or that A spawn, that attacker spawn. Primi. Decent forward angle. Xvero, I mean, he's basically completely pinned in. Slowly drifts around, but he's going to start walking his way back in. A timing nearly found, but Primi, I have to imagine it was a decent little flick there, comes away with a kill. Jit Boys at the same time picked off over a tree. As the A site now opened up, ready for the taking. Double flash out. Monjet pulls off the angle right as Primi was up at the peak in. RRQ now in control of the site of 4v4 for the retake as Talon. Everybody already in position to get this going.
Yeah, great call there. Be aware of the op. Whoever realized it or said it, got Monjet, saved his life. See if they can hold the line. Paranoia still to work with for the side of Talon. Oh, doesn't hit a thing.
Yeah, instant with a headshot there right before the smoke and bloom, and Crazy Guy mows down the final three. One away from a Rolling Thunder is RRQ. Starting to get reestablished here. Up by 2 once again. One away from double digits. Armageddon. Some other critical ultimates nearly online for the squad.
I wanted to see it from Primi's angle because Primi jumped out and made noise. That's why Xvero peeks. That's why I went, ooh, because I was worried for Primi that he had given the prize away there, but he was able to still find the kill. However, RRQ just diligently working through space, getting the Vice out of the way so that util can't slow you down. Cruz tried to throw the Tejo util in there to do what he could to buy a little bit of time to set up for a retake. They're able to get pretty quickly in a position, but they're out of util at that point. Everything had already been expended, and they can't afford to wait for some of that to come back into cycle off the cooldown timers. So they have to make a go of it with just a Paranoia. It hits nobody. They just get mowed down, trying to push out towards the site.
I'm sure they're still active. You remember that YouTube channel that was really popular like 10 years ago, Bad Lip Reading? Yeah. I think somebody should do that for like the coach cams.
Oh, I've recommended this.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I put this when we go to global events, we fill out. I've recommended we do this.
Oh, I think
on the analyst desk.
I could see that being very funny.
I think it'd be hilarious.
If anyone's wondering, like, how do I get the Valorant content? I want to make some content around the VCT, and I don't know what I should do. Do a Bad Lip Reading.
Do a Bad Lip Reading. I think that'd be a good one. I'd still like to do the. Oh, hold on. This might be okay. They slowed down. I was gonna say I want to do like the Between Two Ferns, where we get players or coaches
you've been
on and
pitching that one for a while.
Just roast them. Well, you have too. That's why I said we could do it together. Well, there's a lot of space taken by Jemkin over at A. I mean, he has to pop the Vice wall, and that immediately pushes rotations over. 2 players. This could open up some space, but with the drone coming through as well, this is tough to read for Talon. They have to check A. They have to be. Oh, and this is so good. They use that drone as a little bit of bait. There's a TP put in the back of spawn for Jemkin. Now they're going to shift towards B. I thought maybe they were going to go over towards A. With how much space and info that Jemkin has. But instead, they're just going to try to use this to get onto the B site, and Talon's confused as well. This is a very tough round to read for both teams. There's been very little info given over.
RRQ, though, in a decent spot. Salvos buys some time here for the side of Talon. Door getting ready to be tapped. A major crunch potentially coming through here over towards B. Is Aftershock going to be sent through the door, but I think they still have to tuck back the Armageddon as well, layered in. Crazy Guy able to find one Primi. The overdrive in play, finding Monjet. Rolling Thunder going to go crashing across, pushes back the Neon, doesn't find much else though. Flash through, turned away from. And now Primi
Player standing.
left alone.
Nice.
Classic in hand, finding one, needing to get that point blank against Xfero, but cannot. The shorty is drawn out, and the timeout does not lead to a round win. RRQ now up to 10.
That was wild. I mean, that was really difficult for both teams to read, but in particular for Talon. A lot of util, a lot of kind of false information being thrown at you by RRQ. Obviously, it is a weaker buy. You know, Primi does have his ult, gets a classic kill,
Remaining.
so be it. But other than that, not much they had to work with in terms of firepower. And they're starting to get fired up in there. Need to keep that confidence and energy high for RRQ, using that Taeho util by a lot of space. That relay bolt was interesting.
It was a thing that happened. Stun on the tie, quick TP away. Double Thorn set up though. Try to really gum up the approach onto C. Slash over the top, Armageddon to clear out back sight. Jemkin gets his way forward. He's held in position for the moment. Util going to be waited out. Jitboy's through the smoke, able to just go ahead and find a timing. Not sure if maybe in her footsteps there of Xfero. Either way, finds that kill. Galua comes away with one himself. She's picking up two. Keeps the round competitive as the spike gets planted, but Jemkin try to open things up, but as he swings wider and wider, Jitboys is at the ready. Finds the punish. Monyet now alone. Just a paranoia to work with. A smoke 6 seconds away. Here's the footsteps. Just waiting to see a pixel out of place. Spots one, but now they know his position. Kind of swings back in. Is good for a singular headshot, but Talon are good for the round win.
There we go. Talon finally able to punch back after a couple rounds in a row for RRQ. Get this defender side a little bit more stabilized. I'd like to see some of that early exchange again. That was where a lot, oh my god, Jit.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a ton of util dumped on the C site. You're just going for a timing there. Cushy criminally get away with two in that moment. Had no business doing that. Still though, RRQ, or excuse me, Talon's able to stabilize. Get these retakes finally to come to fruition. I mean, I think that was probably part of the timeout here was don't give up anything for free early. Jemkin getting through ahead of the Taeho util. That's something you want to see. It's part of why everybody's been leading into Yoru with this Taeho meta. You have a little bit of extra flexibility. And they have a lot of control over A. Primi's on there by himself, but RRQ again. Just trying to force rotations out of Talon, trying to play with Cruz's head. And they've done a pretty good job of it, potentially.
Let's see who will win, guys.
Just really trying to catch somebody off guard, saying, please come peek into the door.
Yep.
But Talon not falling for it.
Try to get it with the clone.
Going to check in towards main. Nothing going to be spotted there. Primi. 3 peeks. Finds Crazy Guy outside the door. Jemkin going to be struck down the spike. Now on the floor. Monyet into the corner. Trying to backpedal as Talon. Look for some more. Cushy pushing into B main. Comes away with Cruz. Steel Garden at the ready. Monyet for a TP. Picks up that spike. Starts sprinting over towards that C site.
They've got an opportunity to at least get the plant down. Nice to get that ult out.
B side.
Yeah. He's got to be so careful here, though. You have the pit ready. They're going to try to put it in the back corner.
A bit of a shallow one here. It's going to become a very tight-knit scrap.
They can hold or not.
This is really smart because Talon has to go way around the world to not just give up easy spam lines down this hallway.
Paranoia catching on the 3. Monyet.
Nice.
Oh, first the challenge in. Finds
Nice
Jit
shot,
Boys.
guys.
Knocks the Vice down to the floor. Tap through. Couple pumps of the shorty. Not much more going to be found there, but they continue to fall lower and lower, and it's just a matter of time. The HP bars are just not going to be there for them. So Talon, they call for the scatter. They call for the save. Time Kalua make their way out. But RRQ not allowing for Talon to really rally back in this half. They get now up to 11.
It's a great back and forth in that round. Talon got a great read on what RRQ was actually trying to accomplish by setting up for the B crunch over towards A. They were able to counter that initially, but it's a good salvage from the rest of RRQ. Monyet, really clever with his ultimate, wrapping through, and then also another really clever ultimate from Xpharaoh to put Talon in a really bad position, because at that point RRQ had all the information that everybody's over on that A side. So if they are going to clear that spot out, they have to come through, like gravel, through the spawn, through B main. At that point, it would take forever to get there. So really, really smart placement by RRQ.
Who's next?
Close fight. Here at A main, Primi goes sliding forward, but Cushy on the peak immediately shuts him down, and now these positions squandered. Scouted is Jemkin, flashing himself up, but pops back behind Rubble and finds a headshot onto Kahlua. Just the one trade there onto Cushy. Only thing found for Talon. So they might have to consider yet another save here. This economy is not going to be there for them. RQ very well poised to take this now up to map point. I don't. Perhaps some other ideas. Gets the smoke out, but doesn't turn to the flash, and it's just frantic panic.
Just great pop flashes from Jemkin. Having a really solid map on the Yoru today. Crazy guy. Oh, here are the footsteps. He was ready. He just got outdone.
Suddenly, a bit more doable. 2v2, a weapon picked up. Cruz now with a Vandal in hand, not just that sting. Here. Still a snake bite available here for the side of RRQ. Shit Boys seeing nothing now. I mean, they can fully assess where these players are at, having seen nothing. The wraparound from Xpharaoh, maybe needing to be a little bit faster, but Jemkin's able to find one. Snakebite now at the feet, and there's the 4K for Jemkin, and map point for RRQ. Talon needing to run back 4 rounds to take this into OT.
Really well played in the post plant. Great patience shown. Talon tries to catch him a little bit off guard. This is Talon trying to play with the conditioning they've been setting up. When they go for those Rubble hits, it's just util at the front of Rubble to buy the space. This time they try to use it to send Primi in to get a kill, and it's just shut right down. Very nicely handled by RRQ. And that's going to force out. But it's going to be the last time out for Talon unless there's an overtime. And they need to figure this out. When they were playing for retake was when I thought they were kind of at their best. But even that sometimes wasn't always a sure thing. So Talon, what does Frost want to give them? I mean, it's tough right now. RRQ, frankly, doing a great job of working the map. Really impressed. You know, Crazy Guy comes through. Last week, they looked great on Ascent. The next 2 maps, one half of Split looked good, and then it kind of fell apart from there. So, you know, a lot of question marks then about Crazy Guy. You bring him in. No, but Ewok talked about it on the desk. It takes time to get everybody integrated, to get the system together, to get, you know, all your players on the same wavelength as your IGL, to get your IGL on the same wavelength as your coaches. All these things so hard to do. And already, though, you know, we're seeing Crazy Guy really working the map really nicely and being more decisive. That's one of the most important things, right, for this RRQ team. Yeah,
it's all coming together. It's in a very good spot, it would seem, right now for RRQ. Obviously, you know, that first map in the last years that they played also looked incredibly good. We'll see how things continue to develop throughout the rest of this series, but as far as this potentially final round of Lotus is concerned, it's off to a huge start. As the opening kill found. Flick not quite going to be there to get a punish onto Primi. He will tuck back, ride the rope up, and wrap back around here. But for now, I mean, RRQ just kind of their pick of the map.
And they had a little bit of extra economy, so they were able to throw in a couple rifles behind some outlaws to try to find those opening picks, knowing what the economy of Talon was going to look like, knowing that most of their players would be on half armor. They're able to punish that really nicely there, get that first kill, set Talon off balance once again. A drone through mid from Cruz, spots absolutely nothing. Let's see if they can get a little bit more info. They're suspecting A, but it's actually C. All on to Jip Boys.
Wall is there. Everybody gets out in front of this one. Still that linger from Xpharaoh. A late flank potentially to come through. Spike crawl around the corner now, going for the plant. Cushy able to find one. Cruz gets the headshot there. Guardian in hand, comes away with one. Crazy Guy going to be taken down. Now the Rolling Thunder going to be in play. Flash is sent to try to just go ahead and stave them off. Monyet's position, keep him protected for the time being. And now Monyet can strike. Swings back in. Kahlua going to be taken down, looking for the spray, looking for the interrupt here on that diffuser. Able to find it. And Xpero, for the final shot now arriving, is there for the closeout. 13-8 RRQ. Looking alive and well on Talon's map pick of Lotus. They take them down and now have a Ascent on the horizon.
A beautiful bounce back for RRQ from what happened last week. Let's see if they can keep the momentum up. That's going to be what's important. But the first half was great. Beautiful Valorant on both sides. Really loved the adjustments, really loved the reads. Great util. Well, the second half a little bit scrappier. But it was largely in part to the way that RRQ was playing the map, was catching Talon off guard, putting them in bad positions often.
Yeah. Rained a little bit during the halftime. The pitch got muddied. But
yeah. I like
RRQ were able to find their footing, stop slipping around. Talon, though, going to be scratching their heads a bit. And I'm scratching my head contemplating this Ascent. Both teams, during that coach interview at the start with Victoria, said, like, yeah, we do have, you know, Waylay's prompted. We have those comps ready to go. Ascent's a map where we have been seeing some of it across the world of VCT. Do we get what I think would be our first Waylay v Waylay?
Could be. I mean, I would think that's definitely a possibility. I think Talon's going to run it 100%. I think Frost was straight up lying when he said it's a 50-50. I think Frost, you see some of the ideas taken from G2, for example, with the Stingers and things like that being worked into their lower economy rounds. I definitely wouldn't be too surprised to see Waylay with how good not only Primi has looked on it, but Jog as well.
All right, well, we'll see if that is going to be in the cards, but for now, we'll send things back over to the analyst desk to break down the action from our opening map.
Thank you, Achilleos and Paper Thin, and that's when you know you've watched some damn good Valorant, because you're really excited and anticipating already the second map, which will be Ascent. Now, starting on Lotus here, it was a really hot start for Talon, but it's still a lot of back and forth there. We're just seeing a lot of peak play from both of these teams.
Yeah, I felt like RRQ had a really good understanding on the map, to be honest. I really enjoyed watching RRQ play this map. I felt like their macro was solid and they were able to pick apart Talon. I feel like RRQ kind of should have done worse in that first half, given their comp, but they really tightened up all the holes that they could have had. I was very, very impressed by them this map one.
Yeah, we've seen them swap up their comp a little bit. I mean, Lotus is a map they played a lot, at least initially in kickoff. They didn't find any wins or any success. I felt like they should have won that game against Nongshim, but unfortunately they kind of let that one slip through their fingers in classic RRQ fashion. I think this comp fits their current lineup as well. They seem to be throwing Crazy Guy on the Breach, Cushy on the Teo where they can, Monya and Xfero back on their respective roles in terms of what controller they're playing, and Jemkin off the Raze onto the Yoru, which he seems like he's playing quite a lot, especially if you're anticipating a Vice can be a good thing to mix in. I think it was pretty neck and neck, honestly, between Talon and RRQ, at least for this game, and I think that the coaches kind of alluded to it in the coach interview initially, that maybe this wouldn't have been a map that was expected because it was floated. Neither one of these teams had much success on it in terms of getting wins, and Talon in particular, who picked it the last time they played it with their own lineup, they got smashed by Gen G, but I expected them to make changes to their map pool and their agent comp, given the fact that their team has changed quite drastically now.
We spoke quite a fair bit about Cushy, but I feel like we also need to acknowledge both Jemkin and Xfero, who've definitely performed really well in Lotus.
Yeah, I mean, Jemkin on the Yoru seems like such a natural fit. We were talking about it in the green room. I feel like it's an agent that he really understands. He's really able to maximize for the most part. But Kahlua was also the standout in my mind on the side of Talon. We highlighted in pre-game. And on this Breach, again, it felt like a very, very good fit for him. I feel like he understands the util really, really well. He's able to be supportive in the right positions. And then, of course, he had this amazing 1v3 clutch. I'm not sure yet. Is it going to be this one? It's this one. Look at this. Now, this is like Breach play perfectly. He uses all the util to maximum effect to win this clutch. This is a very, very high skill play.
Oh, for sure.
You don't see that kind of thing a lot.
He's just anticipating the positions of all of these players. Jemkin on the Yoru, though, this is something to keep an eye on, particularly coming into Ascent. You see how deep he's playing these off angles and how fearless he is. It doesn't matter how much util is being thrown at him. In this high util meta, he's going to play these deep off angles and make your life very difficult, even preempting the lurk in there from Thai and being able to neutralize him before he's really an issue. And then on the attack, you'll see him just sent him on the hard entry with the Breach and the Teo util. You know, you see the TP thrown in there, instant fault line to set him up for an entry. And even though he only goes 1-for-1 there, you're able to kind of confirm the fact that it's a 2-stack site and read better in towards the mid to late round. So Jemkin's going to get the MVP there, but for me, it was quite a very well-rounded performance from RRQ. I love the adjustments that they brought into this game, and they're showing the stability and the consistency that I wanted to see from them against Talon, at least in this opening map.
Also, I want to shout out Crazy Guy. I felt like the IGLing looked a lot more solid. He also had a much stronger individual performance in that map one, which goes to show how important that extra week has been to settling him into this team. It looks far more cohesive and a lot more smooth for RRQ after that little bit of extra time.
Is your heart mending slowly?
I hope. I mean, look, there's potentially 2 more laps left. They did this to me last week. They dominated map 1 last week and then lost. So, you know, I would like to see them do it. And we are heading on to Ascent, the map where they did look dominant against Nongshim.
It was their map pick, Ascent, for RRQ. Let's talk about that, the map draft. You know, and the casters were talking about. We find their whole interaction between the two coaches very fascinating. Pilski, what were some of your bigger thoughts on this?
I think it's mostly about the Lotus for me. I mean, you can never really know what they're thinking, but I think it really is about the Lotus. It's a fact that, like I said before, Talon has not found too much success on Lotus. I felt like RRQ left it in there because they do play it a fair bit, at least in the past, even if they hadn't had success on it. So for me, it's about that being left in there and then Frost opting to pick that rather than picking something else that's really, really strong for him. He can't pick the Fracture because that did get first banned and Respect banned, and Pearl gets hard banned on the other side because that was not so great for Talon last time around. So I'm really interested to see now that Ascent's going to be the pick again for RRQ. They've showed a lot of what works for them, what Talon are going to be bringing into this map. The casters did mention before the Waylay being a possibility for them. They do love to mix that in, and I think Talon is one of the teams that showed the understanding of how to get the most out of the agent so far very well.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, I felt like Primi's Waylay was one of the strongest we saw here in Pacific, and Ascent is a map where we've seen Waylay been picked, you know? So I think it would be a very, very comfortable pick if Talon want to run that. But I also think they've had time to watch RRQ's Ascent back, so it's about if they feel like the Waylay can counter this kind of Yoru Teo style.
I'm really curious about it. Ascent, at least as far as Pacific goes, has long been the map for Japanese teams and the Korean teams. Yeah. But I have a lot of faith for now these two Southeast Asian teams to show what they got. I think especially when you get like these dynamic players like Primi on the Waylay, like Killua now on the Initiator, when you have Jemkin around as well, I think this is going to be a completely different look for Ascent. And we've talked about this last week as well, that, you know, Ascent, not much changes on Ascent when you need to see peak Ascent, and it gets kind of dry after a while, but I think this is the new era for Ascent, and today, this very map, this very match is when we're going to see something really, really cool happening.
I can't believe I'm excited for an Ascent map.
I know, I'm actually legitimately excited.
That hasn't happened for me in years at this point, but now I'm quite looking forward to it because there's so many different options you can play now, and I really, really liked RRQ's comp. In my mind, that was as close to kind of optimal as you can get. I think the Yoru being in there with the Teo, I mean, the Teo was replacing the KO in that kind of traditional thing. I just love it. I feel like that will become kind of the new meta on Ascent, and I think they're very early as adopters of it. You know, we spoke about how great Jemkin's Yoru is, so I think Talon have a hill to climb here if they want to stop themselves getting too old.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think there's definitely a possibility that could become a very popular comp. It shows a lot of the same strengths as like the old Cypher Deadlock comp and the way you would play the Yoru around that, and some of the NA teams liking to play that, but you do have the util and the double drone as well, which is always so strong and something worth looking forward to. So I think RRQ have definitely cracked the nut there. At the same time though, take that win against Nongshim with a grain of salt. I feel like Ascent is not really a map that I saw from Nongshim throughout their whole dominant streak. It was really only a pocket pick for them, so that might just not be a map that they're comfortable on, and RRQ was able to easily push them over. And as Vic mentioned, a lot of teams in Pacific here love Ascent, so I think they're going to be a much harder challenge than Talon, for example, or even the Japanese or Korean teams than Nongshim will for me.
I mean, I also think what's also nice is Talon have been innovators on this map for a long time. Remember the zombie comp with the Phoenix Sage?
Yeah.
That was a real highlight for me.
It was interesting.
That was a highlight.
Somebody was getting creative. That's what I want to see. So I think we can expect something a little bit different from Talon. I don't know if it's going to be Waylay or not, but I think something Frost, you know, the way he approaches his coaching philosophy is he wants to put the opposing team on the back foot, right? So he's okay to take those risks. So I am excited to see what him and Jovi have been cooking up because it's never bland.
Oh, 100%. That's why I'm so excited. I think you guys are absolutely right. On paper, RRQ I think they should be having this, but at the same time, I also do wonder, last week as well, Talon, the first map, there were a little bit more jitters for Talon's side with the 2 rookies. I wonder if the same is still, it's only week 2 for them, so I wonder how they're feeling now going into Ascent, and if we're gonna see them all step up even more.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Now we get the agent picks come across, and Talon are getting creative. We're not seeing the Waylay, but we are seeing Deadlock. Now, I think Deadlock is incredibly strong on this map. Pairing it up with the Vice Teo as well, and the Astra, you're drowning in util, you're drowning in great set plays. I really like this from Talon.
Yeah, and then you see RRQ sticking with what worked for them, so they didn't have to show as much in the second half on their second side, but they have definitely shown a little bit of what it took to beat Nongshim, particularly on that defense. So Talon will be able to read into that for the second half, but at least for RRQ, on that attack, they didn't have to show so much in their opening game just yet.
Well, I know there are a couple chefs on both sides here, and Talon, I know this is a Frost recipe for this particular comp. Let's see if the recipe is any good. We're going to send this to your casters, Achilleos and Paper Thin.
That's right, you hear that music. It's time to jump into game. Map number 2, make some noise as we drop the beat, and I can't keep it up. I can't. I would be a horrendous DJ. But
I wasn't. I thought for a second you might be going for like a WWE style walkout or something.
I wouldn't even know what that even sounds like in the modern era, unless it hasn't changed, because I haven't watched that since I was 10. Because that's who it's meant for. Anyway, let's get into the map. Shout out to GB. Primi just gonna be forced out of B main. We're getting silly today.
We are. We're having fun today. I'm having a blast watching that Lotus, so I'm expecting this Ascent to be very tricky for RRQ on this attacker's side. I think with this double Sentinel comp, now, even though it seemed to me, thinking back to the pre-show interview with Frost and Ewok, that Ewok had a pretty good idea something like this might be brewing for the Talon side. It's still hard to deal with because there's a lot of stall, a lot of delay, and even though Talon gave up the A site pretty willingly.
Okay, Jemkin is dead.
There were plans for that.
Looked like for a second he was going to survive with the sliver, but he's going to take it down. Now the push out of the smoke. Cushy able to find one. The trade it back. Monyet getting another. 2v3. Singular upgrade to the Ghost, and both of these players on the side of RQ worlds apart.
Love this pistol round planning from Talon. Even though you're giving up the A site, it looks juicy.
30 seconds left.
Not able to get through because there's a ton of utility being thrown in there. I think 3 assists come through on that Tejo kill. It's beautifully drawn up by the Talon boys as they're now going to realize, looks like they did in fact abandon A. Had just enough time to get over here to beat.
10 seconds
Get
left.
the spike down. Still a paranoia to play with for Monyet, but
Spike planted.
beyond that, not much punching power in terms of utility. Gonna have to get it done with a classic and a Ghost.
Hot flash at the ready. Monyet able to turn away. Trying to get some capitalization there, but cannot, but does successfully manage to just go ahead, drift back into the site.
Here.
Player advantage firmly in the hands here of Talon. He did not get isolated and picked off. Monyet back at boats. A push out of the smoke!
Player standing.
He's able to steady that one for the second headshot. Primi, Kalu both decently low on HP. The swing out stops the plan, stops the defuse, I should say, as Monyet now just playing ring around the Rosie! Gets the reload and gets the Red Bull clutch. RRQ taking the lead in pistols and starting off Ascent with a right foot forward.
You gotta love to see it. You got to love those Monyet clutches. Gets ahead of that flash, basically counters the only piece of utility that Talon had left in the bag with his own, with the paranoia. And then even though Talon makes a pretty good decision to just stack up and try to push through, Monyet's able to use that boat's wall so effectively. See it time and time again, and that's the 10th clutch in VCT Pacific history.
Feels like that's a number 2 low, to be honest.
It feels like he's had a lot more than that.
Yeah, given some of his plays.
But those clutches he has.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I see Monyet make a play like that, and I just, I gotta enjoy a Red Bull myself.
that was.
I hope that went through the microphone. If it
did.
didn't, it just
I heard it.
just sounds like you're laughing at nothing.
Well, That wouldn't be unusual for me.
That's also true. Sometimes the thoughts and the
Yeah,
the
what's
voices.
what's going on inside this head?
No one can contemplate. No one really wants to know.
Correct.
Jit Boys plays around with some timings there, but ends up falling there as he goes for a bit of a challenge trying to play off the back of that grav net. Ends up getting taken down. Just classics abound here for the side of TLN.
So I like this diligence from RRQ though. You know, you already fell to a trap in the first round. Now you're really making sure that these choke points are as safe as possible. Ooh, well.
Looking for the read, looking for the rotate over onto the A site, but everybody's pushed up. It's a pizza party there for
30
RRQ.
seconds left.
And Talon were not invited. Ty and Kahlua now. Two most recent additions to try to see if they can get some damage
Spike
dealt. Stop
planted.
this from being a flawless. Monyet puts a bit of damage down. 3 swings, finds a headshot. Will be able to go ahead and clean things up. So flaws for RRQ in the anti-eco.
All right, now this is where things get interesting for me with this talent comp. You've got 2 Sentinels. This can be really annoying for RRQ if they're not ultra diligent. They've looked pretty good here in the second round, but you know, again, going up against weaker weaponry, you've got a little bit more comfort to be a little bit more aggressive with some of those angles. Because of the stall that Talon's composition has built into it. One of the things I really liked about RRQ when we saw them last week was that they were doing a great job using these double drones to get information. That could actually be something that's shut down here by Talon. In this case, Primi just walks up, clears one of them, and you have the ability with the Vice and with the Deadlock to slow down the other. If they get a read off of the Owl drone, you can slow them down, get those rotates into place, get your pieces on the board in the right spot, and really make RRQ's life a nightmare on this attacker's side. It's just going to be curious to see how well they're able to play off the back of that. That's really what I'm looking at.
Everything grinding to a halt here. RRQ, I mean, been on heavy exploration of the map, but now we'll start sliding in towards the main. Slow approach, and Primi passed on the taps. Jemkin and Cushy both going to be knocked down. Spike now on the floor. This is going to be the wide swing out from Monyet playing Distract. Lance of Feet finds that kill in the meantime. Crazy guy on the slow approach works his way in towards the site.
30
Does
seconds
do
left.
quite a bit of damage here to Cruz, but cannot confirm the kill. So now a 2v4.
Shadows traveling.
Monyet trying to sell this, but they have the tuck now into Wine. Talon in a good spot to just basically keep this 2-2 spread. Now noise going to be heard. Ty just going to be able to go ahead and disrespect his timing. Finds the first, the re-swing, and Kahlua will get a piece there from Boats. Talon not allowing for a bonus conversion, only suffering a single loss. Get themselves a round win.
Yeah, and so, great round here for Primi. Just holds down B main, clears the drone early, and then is able to just kind of sit in the corner and wait this out. Wait for RRQ to be forced into that space. But the real question for me is, what are you going to learn from that round as RRQ? You saw where one of the sonic sensors was going to be placed, right outside of A main, and how they're trying to work off of tree for that. So are you going to try to take some tree space to kind of nullify that potential angle in the future? Primi again, though, so far forward. Smoke to try to counter it.
Does eat a shot. Spoke about the drop. Does go ahead and play on a thin timing. Gets himself out to safety with the gate crash. Fills the space, saw the fake out. Over towards Lumber in the meantime. Bit of an attack getting ready to come through onto this A site is Monyet. He doesn't cancel it. He sticks it. He's dead.
Well,
back Jen. Jit Boy's able to find one. Jemkin, crazy guy. A little bit of a split fire.
Spike down.
As,
yep, didn't go good.
we just move on.
Yep, it's them trying to create that extra angle. And just Monyet kind of commits.
I think he thought that they just didn't notice and I can stick this, and then they did.
Maybe he thought they were just going to clear him and he was going to go back anyway. I don't know. Hard to say.
Well, Sparrow's dead. And that's us tied up at 2-2.
Okay.
Nothing more to be said. We don't have to watch the replay. Just let's just go straight into round 5.
We can just watch him run around and buy guns. It's fine. And that's just the, you know, you need that extra angle to make that execute work, and it gets shot down. So that's round over, essentially, as long as something crazy doesn't happen. You've got Guardian, a couple Sheriffs, Frenzy, a Stinger. So pretty weak buy for RRQ. There again, maybe backed out. This time by the Tejo util. Try to buy some space to set up Primi.
Big push out in towards mid. Kahlua able to collect one. Xfero going to be taken down now. Talon just getting wrapped around in towards this A site. This time Monyet just TP up towards Gen. Much safer spot. Plant going to be coming through. Jemkin down to 21, eating quite a bit of damage with just that frenzy in hand. Cushy, however, late linger in from mid. Does manage to find Thai, takes him down at range. 4v3 though. This crazy guy ends up getting picked apart. Dimensional Drift goes out. Primi on the hunt, pushes forward, spotting one. Monyet has somewhat successfully dodged around it until this very moment where he does get spotted. TP's back in towards Hell. Cushy still coming up with value. Comes away with 4. It's on for an ace. Oh, the late lingering Sova to turn the tides of the round. Unreal scenes from Cushy. Will not be rewarded with an ace, will not get another one under his belt, it would seem, but RRQ will steal away the round in what should be considered a thrifty, now up 3-2.
What a play there. First of all, just the late linger by Cushy. So smart there. Catches the smokes player, and a great TP from Monyet. Sends Talon scrambling behind the Gen, and Cushy is right there waiting to capitalize. Brilliant. Brilliant play from him. Now he's got a Hunter's Fury to boot. Xfero has the Neural Theft. Your boys does have the Annihilation, so a few things to toy around with in terms of ultimates, and think about that. You use that Dimensional Drift. Now granted it's a Yoru and you're just kind of cycling through those as quickly as you can, but that's a brutal one for Talon. And a great outplay for Cushy, the best Sova we have in the league. At least this year.
He's certainly been looking like it. Jemkin spotting out to Paranoia. Hunter's Fury trying to track and unable to find those tags there. And Ty swinging out from tree, able to find one. Monyet going to put on the floor. Jemkin quick to trade it back. So a bit of a botch there on the ult execution. RRQ for now still in control of the site. Is Annihilation goes in, does get the reel in onto one. Xfero trying to play the doorway. Spray to try to just go ahead and break the cocoon, but even if you do, yeah, I mean, he's already dead. As these are just back-to-back insane rounds.
It's been pretty chaotic. You know, both teams reacted really well to each other.
And widely just squandering their advantages. I mean, somehow that Hunter's Fury combo, I mean, maybe a bit of a curse by calling him best over the league. Doesn't find any value off of that, despite the tracking and the scouting from that Dimensional Drift. Crazy guy, fresh, back to the stage. Now needing to pull off the 1v3 to keep the lead here for RRQ.
He's got his salvos.
Oh boy, but he is in such a brutally shallow spot. But he manages to get the transfer. Chit Boys, Primi both going to be taken down. Cruz has to know that he's out on main. Just needs to win the firefight. Shots fly, swings it. Cruz plants his feet and survives. 12 HP the difference. As Talon suffering heavy losses, but winning the round and tying things up 3-3.
This is just so wild. I mean, almost again, heroics for RRQ. The start of this, a trade, you're at least able to gain control of the site, but with that Annihilation angle, things just crumble as RRQ is scrambling to try to get kills behind it or free their trapped player. There's just no hope for them to do so. And yeah, another nice play there for Cruz. 6-3. He's had a couple big rounds for Talon today.
Here.
Now he's got an Armageddon as well. And it's a weaker buy for RRQ. To what looked like they might be able to string some together. They do have their ultimate for the Tejo. So the drones say hello.
Both cleared some salvos sent.
Didn't clear the corner.
No, it does not, but the rifle will. push forward. Moniette going to be taken down. That's one of the few rifles that RRQ had in play. Now on the floor, the Guardian stranded. Spike can be picked up. They dodge out on the concuss.
Like the proactivity here from Talon. Don't even let RRQ get to post plants. Don't let them get through those chokes. You've got the Sentinel utility. You've got control of the map. Make RRQ earn it. Don't give them the chance like you did in the previous anti-eco, where you just got one Guardian in Cushy's hand and he's able to win the round. So it's just, they're leaving a lot of mid open, but feeling pretty comfortable after thwarting the early attempts.
At the ready, Jit Boys not getting caught by the shot. As I say that, never mind, bit of a curse. Net there, going to be cleared out. A site now open. 3v3. Two players nearby, however, to try to get the interrupted. There's Cushy taken down. Not able to find one. The plant interrupted. Repositioning now, needing to find their way out from hell to get this spike in play, but it won't even be necessary. Xfero holds his ground, finds the two, and RRQ will get the lead.
Yeah, this is brutal for Talon. I mean, I think they have a great read on this round. The early pick is a TP out from Jemkin to the corner, but
30 seconds left.
That is nasty.
Yeah, that is, good God. The mechanics today for RRQ really sharp. So you can't give them any chances. But that kill onto the deadlock, onto Jit Boys, is what really breaks things open for RRQ. If he can hold the line there, probably looks like a pretty easy round for Talon. Now they're on an eco.
Primi, an opportunity though. Will get shut down. Kahlua thinking about trying his odds, but just the classic in hand. Can't afford to stick around, can't recover that Sheriff either. Dropped in behind the box.
This is really good diligence from RRQ. Going against an eco now. Just making sure that there's nothing crazy that's going on around the map.
Oh
boy. Timing.
Yeah. Just a bit rough there. I mean, anything other than the classic, a ghost, a sheriff, etc. Or just some cleaner shots with the classic. Could have been a difference maker there to find at least a bit of value, but for now, still going to be on a flawless pace here, RRQ. As Cam is not cleared out, they have full vision of that alley approach. And it looks like Cruz and Jit Boys just going to go their separate ways here. Try to divide and conquer whatever they can, but both ways that they're trying to push in, tripwires waiting for them.
You want to send Jemkin on the hunt.
And you do.
Because that gives him his ult.
Another dimensional drift now online. He's been having a whale of a time. Cruz now just happy to stay tucked away. They know exactly where he's at. We'll just leave him to his own devices. Let him go down to the spike.
Yeah, this is, excuse me, starting to look really good for RRQ.
Unacceptable.
What's unacceptable?
I'm not excusing you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
How dare you cough?
Yeah.
How dare you be a human?
Yeah, my bad. I mean, I tried to be a robot, but it didn't go so good.
5-3. RRQ looking good. Talon gotta be scratching their heads here.
Yeah.
Granted, lower buy on this round, but needing to find some stability in the next one here.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things need to happen for Talon. One is just being a little bit more patient. I think that's the rounds where they've looked better, where they're not just being really aggressive at B main. That really hasn't paid off too much for them. Generally, RRQ, I think, has kind of gotten the better of them in terms of that turf war. You need a little bit more util towards mid, whatever that may be, or just better control of that. Maybe if you can get a sniper into Primi's hands or something like that, to just make sure you've got that space. Because once you have that mid control down, the rest of the map should be pretty well covered by the double sentinel util. Like if you look at the map, the way they're setting things up, it's a lot of times the Vice stuff at the front of B, the deadlock stuff over on A, and you should just be able to kind of lock that down. Now RRQ's done a pretty good job of trying to bait some of that out, but I think some of the kills that Talon has given over have just been a little bit of over-eagerness, of trying to take some space. And instead, you just need to make sure mid's under control, let the Sentinel util do its thing, play off of that information, and you should be in a much better position.
I think some of the emotions there seen on Frost's face may be a bit overtelling how things are at the moment in the comms between the coaching staff and the players. Really satisfied with some of the feedback that they're getting.
I like this.
As okay, forward push and push out, shut down by Cushy at range. Kalua able to go ahead,
Spike down B.
trade it back, but
Cover going out.
still our operator down on the floor and damage dealt. Kalua gonna look for a little bit of a later timing. Monyet
All tripped.
gonna be swinging in. He's perfectly poised and ready. Kalua shut down. And RRQ firmly in control of this B site.
Spike planted.
I mean, given that there's an op on the floor, the economy that you have,
I think you
they have to
save.
consider for the save now.
I think you save, you grab the op, and you just take it a little bit slower.
Seems like they maybe favor it, at least for the moment, with that Armageddon coming out, buying a little bit more time. The cam there on to Cruz. Paranoia now, everything being sent his way. You're gonna have to consider this more and more. You're running out of time to try to make it happen. Now Cruz is gonna be taken down. The players into committed a position. Jemkin will fall, and Jit Boys maybe left this go on this recovery mission, but he's not gonna be able to get out in the mid. The angle's already watched. Xpero is there. He's pinching in from bench. He's looking for the shot. Jit Boys will be able to find one, but needs to find a hell of a lot more. A solid headshot to clean it up a bit. Looks for, okay, Monyet, and will be able to find it. So good answering damage back. The ult is online here for Jit Boys. He retains his weapon, but everything else is just ripped out of the hands of Talon as RRQ now get to 6.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea, but it's just a better response by RRQ. They're really ready for this. Cushy again. Stellar understanding of his opponents and good shooting to boot. I think this should have never been an attempted retake from Talon. I think you grab that op and you go back to trying to use it to take mid control. But you don't expect Primi to lose a battle like that. You know, with an op in hand, you're pushing mid. Yes, you're the one moving. Yes, your opponent probably has a chance. But he's generally so quick on the trigger. Just an outplay by Cushy, and RRQ sets that round completely off kilter for Talon, who had committed, fully committed to that mid hit. But I like it. I'm fine with it. That was the weaker part of the map. It just was better played by RRQ.
Jemkin sending out that gate crash, anticipating this pressure, and oh my god! The second shot is disgusting! Still finds the third, and Talon cannot catch a damn break! Flawless as RRQ make their way up to 7.
You ever seen those GIFs where casters like
Oh no.
go back and what?
I said GIF.
Yeah.
Continue.
Don't look a GIF.
GIF is a peanut butter!
Don't look a GIF giraffe in the mouth, okay? If you want reasons why, you can use the G that way. No, but like the casters like go back in their chair and just kind of like eyes wide open. That was me in that round.
Yeah,
Just watching Jemkin do that.
that was me after you said GIF.
Yeah,
Anyway,
okay.
barriers will fall. I know most people are split on that.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. Say it however you want.
For me, it's a peanut butter.
Also that,
Childish.
but that's
Cruz
spelled with a J.
is trying to take some space here. Flash out. Sheer wall in very deep. As Jit Boys, Monyet not noticing. There's a pixel off place there. Okay, jumps across, but an immense amount of damage taken. Monyet down to 30, forced out of Gelato.
But that should give you a lot of comfort to take some control of the map here. You had so much. The only thing you really need to worry about is catwalk and mid. That's where Primi's going to be watching partly. Otherwise, just trying to play off util for tree. For tie. Here we go. Dimensional drift forward. Jemkin. What can he find? He's going to see the Vice and Cruz. Immediately a steel guarded in response.
Trying to slow things up. Jemkin's going to be taken down on arrival. Monyet tucked into the corner. Just waiting for that rifle to be available to him once again. Cam spot out onto one, but Cruz counter spamming. Monyet low on HP, ends up falling. It's Primmy tucked over onto the side. It's going to be easy little mowdowns here for these players. Time dwindling.
No.
Cushy needing to fight his way through, but Primmy has the headshot, slams the door on him. As Talon will break that 4-round win streak from RRQ. Potential for a 7-5 to try to keep things decently close here at the half. RRQ still in a very strong position, though. Going to be looking for that 8-4.
Well, this is where some of that control, that map control that Talon is able to take comes into play, because Primmy's able to shift really quickly over out of mid. He's been watching it the whole time. You know nobody's over at A main. You pretty much know this is going to be a B hit. The Yoru ult gets popped. You know where it's going to be at. You wait for it to run out. You throw down the Steel Garden, take the guns away from RRQ. Primmy steps in, knocks players down. Really well thought out there by Talon. That is a great reaction from them. And this is great understanding of what's going on. So you need more of that here to get this 5th round. RRQ, gonna send out the shock dart, looking to clear util.
No.
There wasn't anything there. The Arc Rose is up on the wall, so I don't think there was a...
I think the Vines.
The Vines were not...
I think it's just the one in play at the moment.
Yep.
I mean, you can see Kahlua doesn't have any money. He's bought down to half armor, so I think it's only just the one Razor Vine in play.
On RRQ.
Drone check in towards tree. Die smoked off here for the moment. Pushes down to refill space. Jemkin has a gate crash available. Just a hair off on the peak, and they catch a glimpse of each other, but these two players just going to be going their separate ways.
But you know that there's probably on 3 on B. But they're still going to try to make it go.
Dimensional drift now. Scouting forward. Flash connecting. Ty blinded up. Wraps around towards Alley. What is the play call here? Looks like they're just going to try to push their way forward here out of market. Ty going to be taken down. Just a straight shot from Cushy out through the smoke. Able to find him, but the time is dwindling. 12 seconds. Hunter's Fury opened up. Cruz falling. Kahlua trying to hold the line. Dodges out the shots. This plant being stuck. Needs to be stuck, but yet he finds that headshot, but does he have it? Just barely does. 0.4 seconds remaining. As Jit Boys asks the clutch, finds the first, cannot get any more. 8-4 RRQ, leaving Talon on the floor.
I mean, quite frankly, a couple of these rounds have come down to just RRQ being ultra sharp with their shooting. And this is another one. Killua, oh jeez Louise. This is the right play here from Killua. If he gets this kill on Monyet, that would have been round over. He has to take that timing. Maybe you could argue he was a step too soon, but whatever.
I don't know how Monyet got that
I don't
shot.
know.
Sliggy must have said this looks good for Talon or something. Because that was some big curse energy right there. Either way, RRQ got to be feeling damn good about their odds.
They're doing just such a good job of being patient enough, you know, working through some of that utility, finding their moments, and really getting the space, oftentimes, you know, to work against Talon. And I thought maybe Talon, I mean, again, Talon is a good read on that round. They know what's happening. You know, Primmy uses his ult. It looks like they should be able to just shut it down, but then snappy shooting comes through. Some RRQ fans? Yeah, absolutely.
Both teams decently represented here on this chilly Monday evening. Still just 6:30 p.m. here in Seoul, South Korea. People continue to make their way over to the venue, but right now RRQ is just looking to bring this to a very surprisingly fast conclusion.
This is such a good map for them, and that attacker side looking so good. Cruz getting a little bit info, but yeah, just have to force the TP out there. Not much else to do. And now the real question is do you kind of try to work the map a bit, wait for those to come back online? Tons of pings out, you're able to get your opponent's Teho util out as well, so. Oh no.
Well, tripwire set up. Chip Boys pushing forward towards the window, is able to find one crazy guy, going to be taken down, but Jimkin's there to protect the ghost. Swings in, finds the kill. Cruz one back into his favor here as Monyet does fall. Spike going to be recovered. Kahlua out onto the site, but now the spike is stranded away from him. They know exactly where the vice is. RRQ looking to go 3-1 in pistols.
They're so clean today. Very disciplined. Not going to give him any chances. Take just some crazy shooting here. Okay.
Taps you've ever damn seen. Finds the first one. Some solid damage. Dealt 60 HP between the two remaining players, but RRQ finding the win all the same. 9-4. Talon, see a stinger there as we get ready to go into the replays.
I was just thinking it. I'm like, do you force up again here? Because would it, losing that pistol is backbreaking. You really needed that one on this attacker side. With how fearsome RRQ looks on both sides of the map here on Ascent. Eat every round you can get, and indeed, it is going to be the Stingers, a couple Bulldogs and a bunch of Spectres for the side of RRQ. Try to hold things down. Early exchange. Using a little bit of util there for both of the Tejos. Just trying to find that moment to open up a little bit extra space. Cruz on a fact-finding mission. Doesn't see much, but that means Xfero's position in spawn is going to be unidentified. He can lean a little bit more towards B, especially with that other drone coming through.
Shock dart there. Sent on the entry. No one receiving the damage from it. Just clearing out that fake up for the time being.
Here.
Down the recons, just trying to get rid of this wall here is Xfero. Over at Alley, the push down getting ready to come through onto the side. Jimkin trying the first, find the second, find the third is Cushy. Will go ahead, get himself one, but running out of bullets is Primmy. Stunned to the corner is Primmy. Dead is Primmy. As RRQ will move up 10-4.
I love that we got to see that from Jemkin's point of view because he pinged that out. He pinged that call out. He said, Cushy, fall back. We're going to set up a crossfire onto this corner. We can allow Xfero to watch our backs from spawn, even if they smoke that space out. And that's exactly what happens. That was really nice. Really well thought out, and you got to like to see Jemkin getting involved there with some of the IGLing, with some of the ideas. Calling some shots. 18 kills to boot here on the Yoru. Having a tremendous day for RRQ. Him and Cushy have been lights out here on Ascent.
18-8-1. It's been a rather large performance from Jemkin. Monyet caught in a net. No chance of a punish. Oh, Light gonna be spotted out. Jemkin puts some damage down, but decides to go ahead and jump away. Gate crash keeps him safe.
Shit, trying to crouch underneath the smoke and looking for the peak. But Monyet not gonna give it to him, at least initially. Jemkin quick to rotate in. Oh, good shoulder peek, but tries to go for the follow-up, and Jemkin just shuts it down.
19-8-1.
Do we see 20?
Getting closer to your birth year. Just needs to get a couple assists. And then we're good to go.
God. All right, I'll give you that one. That was good. You got me to laugh.
18-8-1. That was when the American Red Cross was founded.
Oh, really? I was gonna say, wasn't that like? No, that was 1812. Was that war?
Yes.
I remember that
Famously called the War of 1812.
Yeah, I remember that one.
As Jit Boys trying to make his way across in towards the site. Some decent damage going to be found, but spray through these SMGs, doing wonders here. As Ty does manage to find a right click through. He's running out of time. Can he even get the plant down? Nope. It's the drop down, and that's going to be the final kill. 11-4, RQ looking to just run away with this entire map.
Well, I mean, you go for the force up. Tough going into the next round. You're just not going to have much economy to back it up. So desperation from Talon gets thwarted. And RRQ in cruise control to take this one. Potentially 2-0, barring a miracle comeback here. I mean, they're playing so smart today. Just not really giving many opportunities. Sure, Ty gets a couple. One of them's just a classic shot through the smoke, so it'd be like that sometimes, but you're happy to have those happen on rounds where you basically already won anyway. Just trying to force a reaction here out of RRQ or Talon. Losing the clone, using a lot of util.
Just conceding absolutely zero space to them.
Yep.
Aside from Catwalk, that's completely opened up.
What in
That's
the
okay.
is this?
Position, but yeah, I mean,
Give
more
the-
than happy.
Give the camera there. You're fine to have that info.
Jiggle spotting one, drone now spotting two. Might have even seen the third. That tuck into bitches. Sends the smoke. Oh, and does not squander it. That was looking like it was going to be some grade A UFC prime beat, but does manage to go ahead and find the kill. Does get traded out. Jit Boys finding that singular one, but it's just this back and forth brawl that RRQ are constantly in the advantageous position of. They have the lead, so every single time the pendulum swings, they just continue to be out in front. Ty now, stuck, tucked in here, under Cat. The rotate coming in around the back. Xfero should know exactly where he is. Could have gone for the knife, honestly, if he wanted to. Instead, we'll just go ahead, puts him down nice and easy, shows some mercy, and gets RRQ up to series point.
And that's one of those rounds. It's a default that we saw from RRQ last week on Monday, where they'll just have Xfero onto A, and they'll use the camera to watch tree. There's trips at the front, and what they can do is then put more pressure into mid. That way, if they catch a tree push, if there's 3 or 4 players, they can then use that to slide in towards the courtyard to try to catch the flanks of their opponent. Rely on Xfero to buy a little bit of time, and then use that to get the extra angles. Crazy guy. Oh, Killua for a second there. I thought it was going to be lined up. Actually doesn't take any damage, so
yeah,
not the end of the world.
Back a little bit further. X-ray vision working against us for a brief little moment.
And look at this. Now they have a different setup off the back of that cam. They've got the Tejo and Jemkin there to kind of potentially catch their opponents off guard. So some different looks, and they leave mid wide open. Just feel like with this weaker weaponry, maybe Talon won't do too much exploring on it, but in fact they do. Cruz is going to use that drone to get that info, and immediately Primi starts sliding in. And they've got, yeah, this is great from RRQ. Play for retake here. Cosmic Divide, yeah.
They're ready, just looking for any kind of angle, checking out boats. Nothing available there. RQ fully disconnected positions.
Brilliant.
As Talon in control of the site. RQ just letting them dump everything. Now we'll look for the retake. They have the dimensional drift. They have an Armageddon of their own, but it's going to be Jit Boys and Ty coming away with some nice kills as Manya and Kushi both going to be taken down. Cruz up in the market, finding one in the dimensional drift while scouting. He's not going to be seeing much other than likely round loss, but Jemkin has some other ideas. 5 HP, surely not. Even with Killua at 1. The swing out, Primi will go ahead and puts him down. Talon hold on by a thread.
Yeah, even though this round doesn't go RRQ's way, I like the way they play it. You know,
it's thorough.
It is. And they force out all those ultimates because they just leave the site. And Talon have to press. They have to make sure that every round is 100%. And then a couple kills from Jemkin with the economy and the state that it is right now for Talon. That's so painful. And obviously you've got match point the rest of the way through, so go nuts. Now he's got an op, an Odin for Crazy Guy. He's got his ult. There is an Odin.
He's looking to match.
Yeah. It is no longer the B main spam battle, which I think most people are kind of okay with. I am.
Oh, just waiting out that drone. Now gets onto the angle.
I think Kushi might have popped the vice wall. Yeah, he did.
They lobby out of their hands now. Gate crash set up.
Oh, Monyet.
Towards that A heaven. Monyet here at wide.
This is risky.
He's playing on the wide angle. Tucks back in for a moment, cycling that smoke. Sets up for the one-way. Jit Boys goes up over the top. Do they expect this though? Net on main, catches a glimpse, and Cruz catches a stray. Wow, what a shot from Monyet. Now the Armageddon, the red carpet laid out for him. Oh, Blind connecting, exiting on the dimensional drift. Remy able to find one. Spike over at Switch. Crazy guy on the spray. Just a hair too late to be able to find the punish. They manage to get into position as they try to go for the plant. The salvo's now going to be sent out right at his feet. They interrupt. 15 seconds remaining. No further interruptions to be found here. Spike just down underneath help. The swing in. Kahlua finding one. Jim can put down, but Brimmy on the trade. Cushy the off. The peak. Kahlua dead. The drop down. And Ty, it's just a little bit too late. Xparrow on the cross angle.
Nice, GG.
Will be the finisher. We'll get the defuse. And 13-5 will be the scoreline as RRQ manhandle talent.
Oh, their ascent is so beautiful to watch. They are so well drilled here. They just make great decisions. And in this case, this final round, Monyet, brilliant stuff. Shifting into wine. Why? He knows the Tejo salvos are off cooldown. He knows he can't get cleared from there easily. And it isn't in Talon's head anyway. Sets up the smoke, gets the kill when they pop their own smoke, TP's out, finds another. That's the difference maker in that round. That 2-for-1 that he gets is what allows the trades to come through for RRQ and get the win. That's good.
Well, RRQ, their first win of the stage, and a very well-deserved one. I mean, 13-8, 13-5, only surrendering 13 rounds the whole way throughout. Clearly, whatever issues they were finding on the attack really got cleaned up, especially here on Ascent.
Well, and I'm sure everybody knew it on the team. And, you know, obviously Crazy Guy comes in, has his own way of doing things, has his own thoughts, learned very quickly, and that's got to be so encouraging for RRQ fans to see that week to week. There's great adjustments being made against a very good Talon team. And on top of that, frankly, they just look sharp. I mean, their shooting today was so good.
Yeah. I gotta imagine some solid props being shown there from Frost over to Ewok, obviously.